Howdy folks, Spencer here, and now that I've had some time to play around with the contents of the 14th anniversary bundle, I want to give you my initial impression as to whether or not I think the bundle is worth considering, or if you are indeed better off to just pick up some of the new ships on their own in the C-Store. As always, chapters are listed down below. First up, I want to be perfectly clear that this is not a comprehensive review of the 14th anniversary bundle. For that, I'm going to be covering everything in the bundle in a bit more detail in some content over the next couple of days and weeks. Rather, what this video is intended for is for those of you wanting to pick things up right now with the sales going on, just giving my initial impression here to help guide you towards what the best option for you is going to be. So, again, not going fully in depth with things today, just a general overview of what I've seen so far. And next up, I want to talk about pricing because we do have quite a few sales going on right now, which will most likely impact some of your purchasing decisions here, especially if you're not using T6 coupons to acquire the ships. So there's 4 new C-Store ships introduced with this bundle: the Atlantis, the Ahwahnee, the Chekov, and the Princeton. And they have an introductory sale going on right now where you're going to be able to pick any of those ships up for 2,400 Zen per, up through February 22nd. And for the bundle itself, if you want everything you see listed right here, then that 14th bundle is going to set you back 13,125 Zen, and that sale is running up through February 29th. And as I've mentioned in other videos, there will be a 35% bundle sale probably in the later part of March. So if you're wanting to get the 14th bundle, you can get it for about 20 bucks cheaper if you're willing to wait about a month. And alongside the sale on the ships in the bundle, we do also have a Zen sale going on. So this is a 20% charge bonus through ARC right now. And what that means is the $10 Zen pack gets you 1,200 Zen, the $20 Zen pack gets you 2,400 Zen, $50 pack gets you 6,300 Zen, the $100 pack is 13,000 Zen, and the $200 pack is 27,000 Zen. And what that means is if you're looking to pick up the ships with Zen, if you're looking to pick up just one ship, you can pick it up for 20 bucks. If you're looking to pick up 2 ships, you can pick them up for 40 bucks. If you're looking to pick up 3 of the ships, you'd have to get the $50 and $10 Zen pack, but you could pick it up for 60 bucks. And if you're wanting 4 of the ships, so the 4 new ones, that would cost you $80. That would be the $50 Zen pack plus the 20 plus the 10. And for the 14th bundle itself, if you want to pick it up right now with the 25% sale that they have going on, you're looking at spending about 110 bucks. So that's the $100 Zen pack plus the $10 one. And I do want to note here, you could cut that $10 one out of the equation if you were willing to go in and convert some dilithium over to Zen to get that last 125 needed for the bundle. Again, with the current charge bonus, 100 bucks gets you 13,000 Zen, so you would just be 125 short. So that's pretty easy to go in and get the dilithium to convert to grab that amount of Zen if you were willing to do so. Alternatively, if you're willing to be patient, you could pick your Zen up now with the current sales. So again, 100 bucks would get you 13,000 Zen. And if you were willing to wait for a future 35% bundle sale, you could then go in and pick up the 14th bundle for 11,375 Zen, meaning that your 100 bucks worth of Zen would get you the 14th bundle and you would have 1,625 Zen left over. So if you're willing to be patient, you could take advantage of the Zen sales right now and then pick the bundle up and have a little bit of Zen left over in the future. And to wrap up the pricing discussion, I want to go through and break down when I would consider going for the entire bundle. So again, if you're using T6 coupons to pick the ships up, then this isn't even really a question for you. You just use your coupons and call it a day. But if you are in a position where you're putting real money in to pick up Zen, to pick up the ships from this bundle, then it does get to a point where it would make more sense to probably just go for the entire bundle. And yes, I understand some of the bundle exclusives are not appealing. I have been very critical about the Tal Shiar Adapted Destroyer. I have even reached out to people on the dev team and been like, are you guys at least unlocking the stuff on it? And I've been told no. So I have voiced my displeasure publicly and privately about this Tal Shiar Destroyer. And look, I'm not happy about it. But when you look at the numbers here, and you do look at all of the other stuff that you're getting in the bundle, it does get to a point where it does make sense to go for the bundle if enough of the ships interest you. And for me right now, I think the point at which you should go for the entire bundle is if you're interested in 3 of the ships that the bundle has. So if I'm looking at this bundle and I'm interested in the Atlantis, the Ahwahnee, and say the Chekov, at that point you're spending $60. And it would cost you basically another $40 to go in and pick up the entire bundle. And again, for the rest of the bundle, if you do that, you're getting all of the other ships in here, plus all of the other fluff that they have. And the question I would pose to most of you is everything here on the green line, do you think that's worth the extra $40? To me, I very much think so. You know, you're getting another 4 T6 ships at that point, basically, because you're getting the 4th new ship that they're putting in, the Lafayette, if you didn't already have it unlocked, the Tal Shiar Adapted Destroyer, and yes, I know that is very underwhelming. And then the last T6 ship is one that is optional. You can use this T6 coupon for yourself to pick up another ship of your choice from the C-store, or you can gift it to someone, or you can sell it. And right now, these things have been going for about 350 to 400 million AC in the various trading channels. So if you wanted to sell it, you know, that's like $30 of EC right there. And the other ship you get here is the Constellation Heavy Cruiser Refit. This is a tier 3 ship, but the reason it's in here is because the skin from it is usable on the Ahwahnee. So if you really like the Constellation, the Ahwahnee is able to look just like the Constellation, and it can kit bash between that and all of the Stargazer materials. So ship-wise, I think alone, like as soon as you're interested in 3 of the ships, it just makes sense to go for the rest. And on top of that, you're then getting the bundle exclusives like the Type 3 EVA phaser rifle, the Borg Kingdom Interceptor probes, which are frigate hangar pets that can only be used on ships with 2 hangar bays. They're not great from my initial testing, but if you're looking for some Borg pets that will go and throw themselves at enemies and blow up, then that's what they're intended for. Then you have a ground and space trait, which are okay. You have 6 starship slots, 6 experimental upgrade tokens, 14 ultimate tech upgrades, and 14 master keys. And look, you know, it's your money. You spend it the way that you want. But if you're not using T6 coupons to get this stuff, and you are interested in 3 of the ships, then I seriously would just consider going for the entire bundle. Even if you're just picking up the $100 worth of Zen now and waiting for a bundle sale a month or so from now, then I think that would be a wise move. Because if you're putting $60 in, it's not that much of a stretch to put another 40 in to get a ton more for your purchase. So that's just my thoughts there. And I think as the ship sale goes away on the 22nd, that as you're looking at 2 of the ships, you might start to find yourself in a similar consideration to just go for the entire bundle. Again, I'm not happy about some of the stuff in the bundle, like that Tal Shiar Destroyer, but if you step back and look at everything else that the bundle is providing, there is quite a bit of value there. So again, right now with the sale, if you're interested in 3 of the ships, I would just go for the bundle. And as soon as the sale ends on the 22nd, if you're interested in 2 of the ships, then again, I don't think it's much of a stretch to just go for the entire thing during a good sale. And if you do go for the entire bundle, when you get the pack, it will not deposit the bundle exclusive items right into your inventory. You do have to go to the items tab in the C-store and then go to promotion unlock items at the top, and then you can claim them from there. And the traits can be applied to your bridge officers, the ground trait at least. So if you want to go in and reclaim that a couple times to put that on your bridge officers, then you can do that. Same for if you want to get multiple copies of the EVA phaser rifle, you can go in and claim this pack as many times as you want to equip that on all of your bridge officers. Okay, and I want to take a look now at the bundle exclusives. Starting off here is the Elite Borg Kingdom Interceptor probes. I'm not getting too far into the performance side of things here. I just want to show you the visuals of them. And with the Elite Fleet ones here, they have 2 360-degree anti-proton beam arrays on them. They have Beam Fire at Will 3 permanently active. And they have Mutual Annihilation 3, which is the self-destruct RAM stuff that you see from them in or see from the Borg in the new Mirror Borg content. And they have a reduced base hangar launch cooldown because they go in and throw themselves at enemies and die really fast. So let me show you these things. When they launch out of your ship, they are typically quite massive. So I'm in a D7 Merc Worker flight deck carrier here, and you can see that all of them somehow fit inside my ship, yet they are much, much larger than my ship itself. But again, one of the things with these pets is that they can only be used on ships that have 2 hangar bays, and I'll show you them in action here real quick.
Enemy ships warping in near protection station Alpha. We have multiple hull breaches.
I'm going to cloak so you can see them do their thing. And there you go. You can see they literally just throw themselves at the enemies, so they're not going to stay alive. Not the most ideal pets to use with the advanced hangar pet consoles, because the advanced hangar pet consoles get better as your pets live a long time, and these pets intentionally try to go in and die right away. So it's interesting. Not the best damage from them, but it is an interesting, nice little gimmick there for those of you wanting something different. And next up, I want to go over the Liberated Borg Kingdom Nanoprobe. This is a space and ground trait that is a bundle exclusive. So for the space one here, it's +2 to +20 critical severity with energy weapons, and that number grows by 2 every 5 seconds, meaning that you have to be in combat for 50 seconds to get the maximum effect. It is only boosting energy weapons, and as soon as you go out of combat, you do lose all stacks, which is a bit underwhelming. The ground trait does stack a bit faster. It will stack up by +2 every 2 seconds, but the issue for it is that it's just critical severity with weapons, and for those of you familiar with most endgame ground builds nowadays, most ground builds typically get almost all of their damage from their kit modules, which this trait is not boosting. So the traits are cool, but I don't think they're going to be meta, especially with the long build-up time on the space one and the fact that they lose all stacks as soon as you exit combat. So again, I don't think they're going to be meta traits. I don't think you need to worry about picking this bundle up explicitly for these traits. And for the ground weapon here, again, this is the Type 3 EVA phaser rifle that you saw in First Contact. And this does get a benefit if you have an EV suit active. So it's on the primary setting, it's +20% phaser damage while you're in an EV suit. And for the secondary effect, +20% phaser damage and +100% power recharge speed on the secondary firing mode. So if you're a lifetime member also, you can claim the EV suit that was seen in First Contact, and you can make your character look like what you saw in First Contact there. So let me go show you that. So here is what the gun looks like. And here you can see it with the EV suit from First Contact. Again, that's a lifetime member exclusive. Now let's see the primary fire, if I can find an enemy. Niagara always has tons of people farming it, so not always the easiest task. So it's a bolt that fires out, and then here's the secondary. And again, the damage sucks because I'm on an alt character with just the Mark 12, like non-upgraded version of this. So the secondary effect has a knockback effect as well. So I think it looks cool. Not necessarily the highest performing weapon, even when you do have it upgraded, but if you've been waiting for this weapon to be in the game, then you'll probably be quite happy to have it. And if you're a lifetime member, you can have that full visual appearance now from First Contact. And next up, I want to take a quick look at each of the 4 ships that were introduced with this bundle. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into stats or any builds for them. I've already covered the stats in the stats breakdown video, and I'll be going over them again, along with some builds when I get to the full reviews. So I'm just going to be focusing on what value each ship brings, who may want to consider picking them up. So first up, we have the Ahwahnee. This is by far the most meta impactful ship from this bundle. It is quite a bit broken right now. The console from this is insanely powerful. The console can be used on yourself or any allies, and what it does is to the target and up to 12 pets, it will give a scaling firing cycle haste buff that goes from plus 50 up to plus 125, and that scales with your auxiliary power. So that's giving, if you use that on yourself, that's giving you and up to 12 pets a very large weapon firing cycle haste buff, and that works for both torpedoes and energy weapons. Right now it's busted, and it is currently giving haste to literally everything on your build, but that is supposedly going to be fixed with the upcoming patch on Thursday. So it is really busted right now. It's highly overperforming, but just looking at what it says on the tooltip, it's still going to be insanely powerful after the patch that fixes the other issues with it. Then we have the Starship trait here, Flagship Staffing. To allied targets of any command, hull healing, or shield healing bridge officer ability, again, you can use this on yourself. It will reset cooldowns on non-spec firing modes, but not below shared cooldowns, and it will provide a 33% firing cycle haste buff for energy weapons for 10 seconds. Now, this does have a 30-second lockout, which does severely limit its usefulness, but it's still something some of you may find interesting, especially if you're someone doing a support build. You can use this to buff up a teammate. And then we have the hangar pets. The Type 7 shuttlecraft are not frigates. That was a typo in the blog. They are fighters. You can take these and use these on any ship that you want. For example, I've been using them on my Delkina. When I was messing around with the Vengeance build the other day on stream, I went and put them right on the Vengeance, and they are just insane. So I'll go back and show them now. I'm using the Elite Fleet ones that I got from my Fleet Starbase, and these have Beam Fire at Will on them, Attack Pattern Beta 3, and Close-in Sensor Pass. Now, right now, these are actually bugged and they're underperforming, so they're giving a lot of debuff as is right now, but they'll actually be giving more once they fix it. These pets are only giving Attack Pattern Beta 1 with the Elite version right now, so that's 30 debuff per pet, and when they fix it, that's going to be 50 debuff per pet while beta's up on them. So that's just the debuff from the beta. Then you have the debuff from that close-in sensor pass, which makes these pets insanely powerful. If you're a DPS chaser, these are basically the only pets that matter to you now. The debuff that they provide will boost up the rest of your build so massively that you don't really have any other pets to care about. If you're chasing DPS, these Elite Type 7 shuttlecraft pretty much are the new meta, and there's nothing that really compares. That can be used on any ship. And overall for the Ahwahnee, it's not the most popular platform, again, with that 3-3 weapon setup. But one of the other interesting aspects to it is all of the kit bash options you have with it. Again, with the Ahwahnee here, you can make it look like the Cheyenne, if you want that TNG visual. The Dakota, Stargazer, but more importantly for some of you is the Constellation. And you can go in and kit bash this all together. So if you want to do the Ahwahnee, but you want to have the Constellation saucer, you can go in and really, really kit bash and create some very interesting things with this ship. So if you're someone that really likes to kit bash things, this is a ship that you're going to have a lot of fun with because you have a ton of options with it. And next up is the Atlantis Temporal Destroyer, which, as I mentioned in the stats breakdown, is an incredibly capable energy weapon platform. I went in and did a 1.2 mil beam overload run with it on stream the other day, just insanely powerful. And the Starship trait off this is Temporal Tunneling. When you hit an exotic or temporal bridge officer ability, it's going to give you 100% firing cycle haste for energy weapons for 5 seconds, and it can be triggered once every 15 seconds. So that's basically averaged out to 33% firing cycle haste, which makes this give twice the amount of haste on average that you would get from Calm Before the Storm. So if you have a way to trigger this on your build, then this is a very beneficial trait to have on an energy weapon build. Now, you can trigger this with the new bridge officer abilities they put in, specifically Malicious AI and the one to throw the asteroid on the attack side. You can use both of those abilities to trigger this. And if you're on a ship with temporal seeding, you can use something like Heisenberg to easily have it go off every time it's available. So It's a very good trait, and right now, because of its compatibility with malicious AI and the tractor beam catapult, it is able to be used very effectively on most energy weapon builds. The console off this ship is the disassembler emitter. This will give you a buff for energy weapons that scales based on your starship particle generator skill. And the other effect on the passive here is a damage buff for exotic damage abilities that scales based on your starship energy weapon training skill. The clicky here will deal some radiation damage and debuff foes. It's interesting. The passive here might appeal to those of you doing do size stuff. Not necessarily a console needed for general use, but something you might have some fun with. And the experimental weapon here is not going to be that appealing for most of you. It scales with aux power and EPG rather than weapon power and the normal pack side of things like you would see with most experimental weapons. So this is really meant for do side builds that really lean into the science side of stuff. If you're doing just a normal energy weapon build, you've got many different experimental weapons that are going to outperform this. And for the visuals here, let me show that real quick. So you can make this ship look like the TNG variant as well, if that's what you want to do. You can go in and kit bash these. That's one nice thing with these ships is you do have a ton of kit bash options. So if you want to mess around, make something really unique, you can go in and do so. And I think most of these do also have access to the Odyssey material. So you do have a lot of kit bash options with this one as well. Next up is the Chekov Intel Science Warship. And like I said in the stats breakdown, I think that this is a very good science platform in the C-Store. It's a good do-sci platform. The console on it, though, has been very underwhelming. Basically, this is going to lock on onto where your target was when you activated the console, and it's going to have a beam between you and that point that will deal damage to any foes that cross that beam. The issue is it doesn't track the target foe that you used it on. It just stays at that initial point, so you have to fly around and try to get the enemy in that line, which is not always the most rewarding because the damage from this also just doesn't do that well. So it's not a console I'm very impressed with so far. Hopefully I can buff it up a bit more when I do the full review for it, but right now that console does unfortunately look to be a bit of a dud. And for the Starship trait here, threaded particle projectors, this is just a really solid entry-level EPG trait right in the C-Store. I don't know, I don't think it's one that you're going to see on really high-end EPG builds, but again, there's not a ton of really nice EPG traits in the C-Store, so this one, alongside the platform being good, will be a very appealing option for people just getting into the science side of things. And let's take a look at the customization options here for the Chekov and Springfield. So for me, the way that I went with setting mine up is I really liked some parts of the Chekov, but I really liked the nacelles and the saucer from the Springfield. So I went over to the Chekov and I swapped the saucer over to the Springfield, and I swapped the nacelles over to those blocky ones also from the Springfield. And then for the material, I mean, you've got quite a few options. I set mine as the Galaxy, and I just thought that looked pretty clean. So again, with these new ships, there's a lot of really nice kit bash options, and I think with the Chekov here, again, it's a really nice science platform right in the C-Store. Good entry-level trait on it as well for EPG. The console's very underperforming, but the ship itself, the trait, and the visuals of it, I think are a very redeeming factor for it. So definitely a ship you'd want to consider if you're into the science side of the game. And the last ship here is the Princeton Merrick Worker Cruiser. The Starship trait on this is risk versus reward while below 90% health. Receiving healing will trigger radiation damage to currently targeted foe or nearest if no target, equal to 100% of healing received, max of once per second. The issue is, for most people that have been trying this out, is staying below that 90% health threshold when you're using some heals is a bit rough. And I've seen people try this on some tank builds, and they're just not getting really anything from it. Unfortunately, that 90% restriction on it does really limit the potential usefulness of this trait. And for the console here, it is Fractal Integrity Bleed. This has a max hull cap buff on it and a healing buff that will scale up as your hull decreases for healing received. And the clicky here will deal damage to your foe based on a percent of your hull capacity, and it will also deal damage to you based on a smaller percent of your hull capacity. And this will stay up for 30 seconds. It can be turned off manually, and it will automatically drop if you fall below 33% hull capacity. So if you're on a really high HP build, I've seen some people trying to mess around with this, and I've seen some people get some interesting results with it on like the Nadarian. I don't think it's going to be a meta console, but if you're looking for an alternative thing to play around with, some, alternative off meta stuff, this might be a console that appeals to you because you're doing damage based on having a high hull capacity. And for the ship itself, I wasn't very positive about this ship when I first looked at it. It's your standard 4-4 American worker cruiser, but something that I really didn't think about when I was initially looking at the ship is that this is a 4-4 American worker cruiser that can do suppression barrage 1, and it has attract fire. So if you're looking for a really nice American worker cruiser in the C store that you could use as a really nice tank platform, honestly, the Princeton's pretty solid. Now, the tanking meta has changed a little bit, and having a ship that has hangar bays on it with those Type 7 pets is going to be more desirable at a higher level of play. But for random elites, this may be one of the tanking platform that you may want to consider for doing a tanking build on. So it is interesting, and I was a bit negative about it at first, but I think after having used it and seen its capabilities with the the Merc Worker stuff on it, plus attract fire, plus suppression barrage, I don't think it's as bad as I was initially thinking. And for the visuals here, the Princeton is the Niagara from the mission, so it's the 3 nacelle ship. Here is the modern skin on it, and of course you can make it look like the Niagara from the TFO as well. Again, I'm not a big fan of the 3 nacelle design here. But you can, of course, go in and, like with the others, you can kit bash this quite a bit. You can have the bottom nacelle a little bit different there too. So you do have some options here. Again, it's not the most appealing ship to me with that bottom nacelle, but I think they've done a very good job with the modern skin for it. And now I know some of you are wondering, what ships should you go for? Well, if you're an energy weapon player, the Atlantis and the Ahwahnee are certainly the two that you should prioritize right now. They're both good in different ways. The Ahwahnee is more for the accessories, though the ship itself is a very capable support platform if you're wanting to do that playstyle. But the accessories, the pets, and the console that the Ahwahnee have basically make it a must-have for any DPS player. The Atlantis, if you're an energy weapon player, you're going to want to pick it up for that trait. And again, the platform itself is also extremely capable for energy weapon builds. The Chekov here is a really good entry-level science platform. The Starship trait on it is going to be a good entry-level trait as well for EPG. Not necessarily meta, but again, early on, when you don't have access to all of the really expensive lockbox traits, that's going to be quite solid. And the ship itself, very capable. I've already seen some people getting some very impressive 1 million plus results with it. So it's not necessarily going to be the top, science performer, but it is up there, and it's better than most of the other options we have in the C store. And the Princeton here, again, if you're looking for a American worker cruiser that will be a good tank platform, that's pretty much this. This is a American worker cruiser that has access to suppression barrage and attract fire. So again, you want that American worker tank platform, this is the ship that you probably want to take a look at. So overall, I think that all 4 ships in the bundle are good in different ways. And I know that some of you are saying right now, Spencer, I don't want to hear that. But I think that all 4 ships are good in different ways. And if you're someone that likes to mess around with a bunch of different play styles, I think the bundle's worth it. And I hate that I'm saying that, legitimately. I hate that I'm saying it because I'm still not happy about that Tal Shiar adapted destroyer. But at the end of the day, with all the sales that they got going on, I do think that the bundle is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The ships in here are all capable. The bundle exclusives are okay. The other bundle fluff does have quite a bit of value, like the T6 coupon. The Lafayette does have an interesting trait and console for some builds. The Tal Shiar adapted destroyer, it's an admiralty card. You get the starship slots, experimental upgrades, the ultimate tech upgrades, the master keys. Like, I think if you're someone again that likes to mess around with different things, it unfortunately would make sense to go for the bundle. And if you're someone that just has some T6 coupons to use, going for the Atlantis and the Ahwahnee are probably going to be your main priorities. The Chekov, again, for a science player, is going to be really solid. The Princeton, for those wanting a Merrick work or tank platform. And the Ahwahnee, again, if you're a person in this game that uses weapons on your build, or you have a hangar bay, you probably want to pick up the Ahwahnee. So, yeah, I realize that pretty much means everyone, and that's because the stuff on it is really that powerful right now. So, that's my thoughts on everything. I know some of you are going to have some more questions and comments, and I'm sorry if I'm getting a little off topic with some of the discussion. It's now 3:30, so I'm going to wrap things up here. Hopefully this helps you figure out what you want to do here. I picked up the bundle, and like I said, I'm not happy about the Tal Shiar Adapted Destroyer, but honestly, I've had a lot of fun with these ships, and I do not regret buying the bundle. So take that for what you will. That's going to be it for me today. Again, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.